The girl was forced to marry a criminal who had just been released from prison. She thought she was going to face domestic violence, but the next morning, her husband handed her a box filled with jade bracelets. At first, the girl thought these were cheap items bought by her husband at a street stall, until she tried to sell the bracelets, hoping to raise money for her mother's surgery. The shopkeeper told her the bracelets were worth millions. The girl froze in shock. She remembered the scene the day before when her husband had fought with someone. She assumed the bracelets were something her husband had stolen, so she quickly took them home, planning to make a nice meal to persuade her husband to turn himself in to the police. Just as she hesitated on how to bring it up, her husband sensed her worries, and told her the bracelets were family heirlooms. Only then did the girl realize she had misunderstood him, so she decided to go back to her parents' house to ask for a dowry. It turned out that 2 days earlier, the girl's father had promised to give her a dowry of 300,000 yuan, in exchange for her marrying the criminal instead of her half-sister. She reluctantly agreed in order to pay for her mother's medical treatment, but she didn't know that the seemingly fierce man was actually not a real criminal, but the heir of a wealthy family. A few days ago, the man's private jet had crashed. Although he miraculously survived, he announced to the public that he had survived a plane crash in order to investigate the people behind the attack. This led to an accidental and hasty marriage with the girl. The girl was also a victim of her circumstances. When her sister found out that she was marrying a criminal, she vehemently opposed it. So their father forced the girl to replace her sister, threatening her mother's life, that if she married the man, he would give her the money to treat her mother. In order to save her mother, the girl reluctantly agreed. However, the next day, the girl went to her father's house, hoping to receive the money as promised, but as soon as she arrived, her sister ruthlessly humiliated her. The sister smugly showed off a new necklace, and mockingly said she had bought the necklace with the money that was supposed to be for the girl. Then she warned the girl not to think about any share of the family's fortune. Her father had never planned to give her a single penny. The previous promise of money was just to make her become her sister's stand-in. The girl finally understood that she had been sold by her own father. She didn't want to argue anymore, and silently left her father's house. For the sake of her mother's treatment, the girl decided to sell the bracelets her husband had given her. At first, she thought the bracelets weren't worth much, but the shopkeeper actually offered 10 million to buy them. The girl was overwhelmed with surprise. This money could not only cure her mother's illness, but also improve their lives. But then she remembered that her husband had given her all the bracelets. If she sold them, he would surely be angry. So she decided to abandon the idea of selling the bracelets. But just as she returned home, her husband questioned her sudden anxiety.